白灼猪蹄粉肠 blanched, pork tongue, and duodenum. Duodenum is the part of the small intestine connected to. I've been to Shenzhen countless times, but mostly as a pit stop to and from Hong Kong, and I've never spent much time in the city proper. I'm just not a big fan. That's because, and I know I'm going to piss off a lot of people by saying this, but in my humble opinion, and based on very limited knowledge, Shenzhen doesn't have much of its own culture. And that's why many folks call this a cultural desert. Well, it's not a blank slate in the absolute sense. There is a modicum of indigenous heritage, such as that represented by Guangdong, the Nantao ancient city, which isn't far from here. I'm at Shekou, and the local Shekou cuisine is also known as Nantao cuisine. An emblem of Nantao cuisine is the pun choy, or basin vegetables, which is a communal dish served in a huge basin containing a ton more than just vegetables. It has actually become a culinary symbol of parts of Hong Kong's new territories, such as Yuanlong, somewhere over here. That's right, that is China Hong Kong, just across the Shanwei. For our first meal in Shenzhen yesterday, we went to a restaurant famous for its pun choy and Nantao foods.
Pancai or pun choy is served in a pan with layers of various foods and portions typically family size, too big for two of us to finish. So instead we're going to order various foods and turn our bellies into our own pancai basins. The restaurant's promo images here show the various versions of pancai, which normally contains seafood, and so we shall have seafood as well. 盐焗烟仔蟹, salt-baked baby crab. As I've said in a few recent videos, autumn and winter are great for crabs, from Suzhou's Chinese mitten crabs to Wenzhou's mud crabs. But that rule of thumb applies to adult crabs, not to such 烟仔蟹 baby crabs, which are best before Mid-Autumn Festival, like now. 烟仔蟹 refers to unmated baby crabs of some mud crab or blue crab species. Once the temperature drops, they mate and mature, after which the flesh and viscera firm up. Altogether another type of indulgence, but for the young 烟仔蟹, you want to relish in the baby fat and buttery viscera. The salt baking method is similar to the Spanish a la sal and helps keep things inside moist while not making things salty. Crabs are considered luxurious, so they're often used in the celebratory dish of pancai. But one seafood isn't enough for a celebration, and so we shall have another.
This is the 萝卜焖 menshan, conger eel braised with radish. Now the two main ingredients are a world apart in terms of cost. You would think the eel plays the central role, but no, the radish is rare.
We Chinese love using the daikon radish, and one way is braised into meats like beef and lamb. But I've never had it teamed up with conger eel, and it's a dream team. The blend daikon radish has been enriched by the fatty flavors of the conger and aromatics like charred garlic. Even the cooked daikon's natural mild sweetness has been enhanced. You can still perceive the fibers in the radish, but they don't leave a coarse mouthfeel whatsoever. Marvelously mushy, but somehow managed to retain their shape. Dreamy daikon to die for, a real climactic dish in this braised radish and eel. But for me, there's another climax in this meal.
白灼猪蹄粉肠 blanched, pork tongue, and duodenum. Duodenum is the part of the small intestine connected to the stomach. I've seen Malaysian and Singaporean markets calling this sweet intestine. Well, it's not really like the sugary kind of sweet. For me, it's more like the dude, that was sweet kind of sweet. I fell in love with it ever since I tried it first time like ages ago.
The subtle visceral sweetness is what you're after. The little tubes have some chewiness to them, and the more you chew, the more they secrete their sweet gastric juice. Not unlike the pleasure of gnawing on jerkies in a way. I suspect that the fanchang can hold so much juice partly because of its thick internal lining after which it is named.
It's called fanchang in Cantonese culinary jargon, meaning powdery intestine, referring to the powdery texture inside. This inner powdery layer is very delicate, so you can't really scrub it. So how do you clean it? The key here is not only cleaning, but also selecting. Because only pigs are sufficiently fasted before slaughtering can produce clean and usable fanchang. And this is especially important when you consider the cooking technique, 白灼.
白灼 literally means white boiling. Funny how it's similar to the etymology of blanch. It's chiefly a Cantonese culinary technique which entails quickly cooking the ingredients in boiling or almost boiling water, or light stock, but the ice bath in Western blanching isn't required. All the粉肠I remember eating had been prepared with the baijiao method. No complex cooking or seasoning to mask deficiencies. At most, a drizzle of soy sauce or something like that, and maybe a dip on the side. Regardless, ingredient selection is paramount.
This is why the cleanliness of the ingredients is so important. And given this high requirement on the gastrointestinal cleanliness of the pig and the limited quantity available in each pig, it's no surprise that the粉肠is pretty expensive.
But it's also pretty perplexing because 粉肠 is a profanity in Cantonese, such as the phrase 你條粉腸, meaning you duodenum, is roughly like calling someone you dumbass. I know you might be tempted to call me a dumbass for eating something like the duodenum, but don't knock it till you've tried it. In case it is something you categorically refuse, may I implore you to try the pork tongue. It has also been cooked using the baijiao technique. The outcome is similar to pork tenderloin. I reckon the majority of meat lovers will find it appetizing. Up until now, we have seen salt baking, braising, baijiao. For the last dish, we've got frying, 豆豉鸡, chicken with 豆豉 fermented black beans. I'm not sure how the kitchen made the dish, but the slightly crusty exterior feels like shallow frying and perhaps followed by stir frying to impart flavors. Just a guess, so don't take my word for it. Certain lumps of chicken are a tad too dry for my preference, but foreign friends of Kung Pao chicken might find this appealing as a sort of alternative featuring the salty, funky umami of 豆豉. Kung Pao chicken isn't Cantonese, by the way. Cantonese food is largely what you'll find here at Xiaonanji, good Cantonese food. Look at all those diners seated outdoor in 35-degree and 85% humidity weather. Yep, a great place worthy of the heat and sweat. Fortunately, we arrived early and didn't have to endure the natural sauna for lunch. Come back for the next video about dinner of Western Guangdong foods on the same day. No, not Western foods in Guangdong, but foods from the western parts of Guangdong. 再见!